Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and again we are going for a wander round paradise a little bit later in the week due to the fact that we had two big games to discuss last night against Hibs at Easter Road, and of course at the weekend we drew 1-1 with Aberdeen. We're going to have a wee chat about both of those games and where it leaves us in what is definitely a title fight. So we go up to PADDY. It's a stadium that I think Brendan Rodgers has got a decent enough record in, but Celtic's form hadn't been great. The Ross County game was really disappointing, but we did have two new arrivals on the bench, and we were hoping that they might add a wee spark to Celtic's play. As it was a controlled first half against Aberdeen, managerless for this particular game. They of course appointed Neil Warnock. Fun fact for you, only one man has managed more games in world football than Neil Warnock, and that is another ex-Aberdeen manager, Alex Ferguson. So we go in at half-time, nothing each, and in the second half you were kind of hoping that we could turn the screw. It didn't happen. Aberdeen came out, they went up a couple of gears, put us on the back foot, and we looked as though we couldn't deal with their press. Bernabei gives away possession, Aberdeen break away, and who else but Bojan Miovski scores the goal for Aberdeen. It was a concern because I think there's been a few times this season where you don't think Celtic can claw it back. You've got to give credit to Brendan Rodgers. He made the changes, and the changes made the biggest difference. I was delighted that when Adam Idah came on, that Kyogo remained on the park, meaning that we did play with two up front for a spell, and Kyogo got a wee bit more freedom. But it was Nicholas Kuhn who scored the equalising goal. Unfortunately, we couldn't get another, and it finished 1-1. So the pressure was ramped up. Of course, Rangers went and beat Aberdeen 2-1 at Ibrox. It was all level, and Celtic had to go to Easter Road. Nothing less than a win it was going to be good enough for Brendan Rodgers and his team. So how did they do at Easter Road? So Celtic put ourselves under the cosh with a goal that really could have been avoided. Bernabei lost possession. But it's not just down to him. When you watch that goal back against Aberdeen, you look at a player in Bernardo who's off balance. He's far too easily shrugged off the ball. Palmer comes in to tackle in inverted commas, because I've never seen him winning a tackle yet, and he pulls out of the challenge, and we're on the back foot at that stage. Scales is out of position, Johnson's out of position, and Nawrocki is on a yellow card. Listen, it was a great finish, a nice wee jink by Miovski, a player that Celtic apparently were interested in, but we didn't get the deal over the line, and he scores a cracking goal. And at that point, I don't think I've got the confidence at the moment for us to go to the last kick of the ball and pull that one back. Thankfully, we got the draw, and it was welcome. Nicholas Kuhn, there you go, that's him made his contribution. Going to Easter Road, everybody was talking about Brendan Rodgers' record there. You know, we've won 2 out of the last 12 games at Easter Road, and infamously, Brendan Rodgers had never won there until last night. Big changes in the starting 11. You look at the forward line, completely changed. Out went Palmer, who had been poor against Aberdeen. You know, Idah hasn't really got started this season, and probably most surprisingly, Kyogo, the talisman, he was dropped as well. Nawrocki also dropped, and Stephen Welsh came in defence. Alexandro Bernabei kept his position at left back. Would Celtic be able to beat Hibs and break that hoodoo? Well, I'll tell you, within 10 minutes, unfortunately, Alistair Johnston was stretchered off with a head injury. But enter Adam Idah, the guy who replaced Kyogo Furuhashi. He stepped up for a penalty, which has been an issue for us this season, and he slotted that away confidently. And you thought at that stage we've got something to build on. But again, Celtic can't be trusted at the moment, and we threw away that lead. Hibs came back into it. And you know, Hibs were breaking away, they looked dangerous, and at that point it could have gone either way. Brendan Rodgers again plays 2 up top near the end of the game by bringing on Kyogo Furuhashi, and the substitutions worked. We've got to give credit to the gaffer for that. Kyogo wins a penalty, and let's be honest, both of them were penalties, absolute stonewall penalties. But what about the character of Adam Idah to step up with virtually the last kick of the ball and score the winning goal? And I look at the game and I think to myself, this is character building, this can galvanise the Celtic side. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section. Adam Idah with nerves of steel, and you would think after 2 goals on his first start for Celtic that he would retain his place against St Mirren at the weekend. I think now It's all about personnel rather than trying to change anything else. I can't see Brendan Rodgers changing shape. If he was going to do that, there was an opportunity to do it against Buckie Thistle and Ross County, two poor teams. It's not going to happen now though, is it? So it's all about playing the guys who are on form. Bit of a concern in the central defensive area again. Stephen Welsh injured, he had to come off. And, you know, that leaves us in a situation where you would expect Nawrocki to come in and partner Scales. But then Brendan Rodgers has to go back to a player in Gustav Lagerbielke at that stage. And that's a player who basically has been told he was surplus to requirements. The only reason we kept a hold of him rather than loaning him out to Lecce in Italy was due to the fact that Carter Vickers, his injury had been diagnosed by that stage. So you're going back to a player now and saying, I don't want you, but you need to do a job for me. And that's just the situation we're going to be in between now and the end of the season as well. I think after the game, you looked at the reaction of Brendan Rodgers, the reaction of the players, and we have kind of overdosed on the we never stop mentality. And Postecoglou spoke about it time and time again, but it's a Celtic mentality, and it's one that we need to reinstate, because for me, the only people that have not been stopping are the fans in the stands. Loads of frustrations at the moment, but obviously we want to see Celtic continuing on this run. It was pointed out yesterday when we had 14 league games to go. If we win them all, we get 100 points when we win the league. Is this team capable of doing it? Let us know in the comments section. So we're in a real title fight now, aren't we? A real dog fight between now and the end of the season. 13 games to go. And I think last night Brendan Rodgers was talking about that. A reset. Just concentrate on the games that we have in front of us. And concentrate in your own backyard. When it comes down to the big games, the Glasgow derbies, we've managed to come out victorious on both occasions, and we've shown that we can do that. When, you know, the chips are down even, we can pull a result out the bag. He's going to have to go back to the well. He's going to have to ask guys like Lagerbielke to play for him and dig in for him as well. And I think last night and against Aberdeen, the midfield weren't up to their usual kind of standards, so the sooner Rio Atati comes back as well, just to give that a new lease of life, the better. We can't sign anyone. He's got to just deal with what he's got. And I said yesterday, will the real Brendan Rodgers please stand up? Hopefully that's happened as well. What's Acsom been up to? We continue to raise funds for wee Jamie Tierney. We had an event in Greenock, sold out the other week there. It was a fantastic night, and we raised a few quids for the wee fella. The link for Jamie's journey is underneath this video. We've got a few events coming up as well with PADDY McCourt, the Derry Pelly. So if you want to come along and see us up north, again, ticket links underneath this video. How are you feeling for the running? Are you confident that Celtic can do it? Let us know in the comment section, and join us again tomorrow at 12:30 for a Celtic State of Mind.